It's Our Story. Laura Hershey, Denver, Colorado.
I think there's so much value to the disability experience. That's another thing that I think just people don't really get. Like, there's, not to sugarcoat it, I mean, it's full of, like, discrimination and battles and having to advocate for yourself when you just want to, like, whatever, veg out or, be on vacation or whatever. But just the whole experience of living with a disability, I think it's so valuable for the human race, whatever you call it, for humanity to learn more about and understand more, especially because there's more and more of us all the time. And people are growing older, the baby boom is aging, and more people are going to be experiencing one degree or another of limitation, physical and mental or cognitive limitations. And I think there's still so much fear around that in society. Fear, some of which, of course it's normal to fear changes in your life or whatever, but it's an overblown fear in the society where, our culture teaches us just to think that the worst thing in the world would be to, like, have to depend on somebody else to wash your hair or take you to the bathroom. And more and more people are going to have to live with those realities. And I think that families and individuals could be a lot more prepared for that if they would, get to know more about that experience. But that's where I think art and literature can be so powerful. There's some, really good books and literature on that, on the experience. And I guess I just wish, I would like people to not think they have to push aside that aspect of reality, because it is reality. And it's not all bad. Some of it's very, very exciting and empowering. And it's just, it's just real. It's like real life. So that's one thing. I guess the only other thing I'd add, since I know you're interviewing lots of different people, and you're probably learning this, that there's a lot of diversity just within the disability community, a lot, and that we may experience our disabilities even very differently depending on, economic resources, gender, sexual orientation, race, cultural background. And I guess I would just like to see the disability community's diversity recognized much more than it has been, because to the extent that the disability rights movement and community is recognized at all, it's kind of seen as this monolithic, white male West Coast phenomenon, personified by Ed Roberts. And there really is so much more to it than that. There's a whole movement among disabled women who are working on issues around family life and violence and employment and leadership development and cross, international organizing. There's a huge, like, deaf queer community, which I think the rest of the world doesn't know much about, but it's really vibrant and really alive and generating lots of interesting cultural stuff. There's huge issues around poverty and disability. I think some of us got a glimpse of that, after the recent hurricanes, that the people hardest hit were poor people and African American people, but also disabled people. And it was the disabled people who didn't have, their own van and driver so they could get the hell out of the city. It was people who were stuck in nursing homes and left there to drown. It was the people in assisted living high-rises who were left there, or in some cases victimized by looters. It was people who were not able to get into the shelters that were set up because they weren't accessible. It was people who were told they couldn't be transported out because they'd have to leave behind their wheelchairs, and they just couldn't do that. So, I think that recent event has revealed a whole lot about the interactions of poverty and disability that we should be talking about as a community.
The It's Our Story project is a national effort to make disability history public and accessible. Visit us at www.itsourstory.org or on the It's Our Story project YouTube channel.